Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice here in the Bucket, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and I was down in Providence last week, and I met somebody who was part of a syndicate that invested their money as a group to buy a large portfolio. And it got me to thinking, does it make sense to pool your money with other investors and go in on a large development as opposed to buying multiple small properties by yourself and piecing those together over time? And it's the same answer I would give if somebody said, hey Greg, should I sell my property or should I keep it and rent it? It's always going to boil down to what your goals are, what your needs are, and how important or not your legacy is to you. So when it comes to investing with a group, my general rule of thumb is always to say no to partners. Partners are not partners forever. They're temporary, especially in business, even personally. Think about all the failed relationships that you and I have had over our lives, trying hard too. Trying to do the right thing and being the best person possible, relations still will crumble to the ground. That's without getting money involved, high pressure decisions involved, vendors involved, bankers involved, politicians involved, yada yada. Relationships are already very difficult. So that's my general principle rule of thumb, is that they don't last. So putting your money and your time into something that is permanent, quote unquote, with somebody or someone who is temporary just doesn't make sense long term. Now there are those that could say, well, I've been with my business partner for 10 years and we've never had a disagreement. I trust him or her and we're going to do this together. That still is the same situation. Just because you've been close and friends and tight with somebody for 10 years does not necessarily equal success, peace, and tranquility into the future. It hedges your bet, you have a better advantage, but it's still something that is generally fragile and could be ripped away in 1 second. So, moving beyond the relationship component, do you then want to relinquish your decision making or your control to a group of individuals, or maybe there's one person in the syndicate that is making the decisions and you're just there, waiting for your check? Hey, do you want to be powerless is the next question. Or do you want to be an equal, which could be just as worse, when your votes equally count? Beyond that, the third component I would say is, what if one person wants to get out? What if one person's getting divorced? What if one person wants to sell? What if one person goes to jail and needs money? Or what if one person gets arrested for something very bad and puts a bad reputation on you? What if politics gets involved? Lawyers get involved. The government gets involved. What about when these things start to happen? Lawsuits against you, against the entity that owns it. Are you equipped and ready and willing to weather those storms? And I feel that in some, syndicates should be reserved for people that are very well experienced in the business and very well experienced with each other. You should not be doing this right out of the box. You should be doing it on your own for quite a long time, until you get to a point where you're mentally and financially ready to take that type of jump, because it is a leap. It's a very big leap. And when you do so, it has to be right. If you're wrong once, it could be the end of your career. So I say, do so, but do it cautiously. There's plenty of effective partnerships and joint ventures out there that have been tremendously successful. But ultimately, solo dolo is the best way for you to steer your own ship, unaffected and unbothered from those around you that you may not agree with or like to deal with. So stay in charge of your own ship until you feel it's right to bring somebody else on board. Okay? So once again, Greg Rice here in the bucket, your property and your partnerships managed.